In this video, we're going to be going through the 3 stages to integrating trauma and regulating the nervous system in the long term. So these are the stages that I work through with my clients when we're working on this stuff. The first stage is safety. This is such an important one, and for so many people, especially when we've experienced difficulty in the past, it can be hard to feel safe. It can be hard to feel safe within the body, and it can be hard to feel safe within our life in the outside world. So this is a really important piece. And we see, often what I see out there is this gets a lot of emphasis in a way that pushes the responsibility into the outside world. Now we see this sort of like trying to avoid triggering people's traumas, trying to kind of cater to all the different types of people in the world. And although this is sort of like a nice thought, it's not that helpful, because what we want to do is we want to create safety from within, not from without. We want to be in control of our life. We do not want to be a victim. So the important piece about this is that we want to work with safety from within. If we have safety from within, this is a very powerful position to be in, right? So what does that look like? This is very often, for many people, it's about finding something that feels safe and helpful and resourceful within the body. And this can be really challenging for many people, partly because many of us don't spend time in our bodies. So this is why somatic work has become such a thing, because it's helping us learn to be back in the body and use the body as it's meant to be used as a beautiful way of creating safety for ourselves. It's a beautiful tool of safety. So this is a really, really important first step. Very often when we've experienced challenging things, when we've experienced big traumas in our childhood or otherwise, then we get put into a place of being a victim. We get put into a place of being powerless because of potentially what happened in our life. And so when we hold on to this energy that from these situations, from these experiences, we sometimes get stuck there and we don't feel safe in our world. We do get easily triggered by what's going on around us because we don't have that sense of safety. So this first step is about finding that safety. We can use the body. For some people, that's very challenging and we have to use other strategies, and that's okay too. But essentially, we're working on honing these skills of feeling very safe and at home and comfortable within ourselves. Now, as you can imagine, once we start to feel this safety, we become much less vulnerable to what's happening around us. And this brings us into this second stage that I want to talk about, which is about our power. So once we feel safe within ourselves, then it starts to feel okay and more comfortable to show our power to the world. In some cases, this can show up as like a type of healthy aggression, where we are asserting ourselves more and showing up in the world being like this. Now that I feel safe, I know that I can focus on what I want, that I can show up as myself, that I can allow this beautiful, powerful light that we all have inside to shine outward and to ask for what I need, ask for what I want. In some cases, we start to stand up to others who may be overstepping boundaries, or to show up in a way that asserts our power to the world. And this is my favorite step because it's so cool to watch people go through this. Very often when we work through this first stage, the second stage just sort of unfolds. Sometimes we need a little extra coaching or encouragement to allow this powerful energy to shine through. But in many cases, it just starts happening. We start showing up in the world differently. And the cool thing is people start to treat us differently because of how we're showing up. And very often we start to interact with those in our life differently because this power is starting to come through, because we feel safe enough to allow that power to shine through. And the third stage is about integration. So we've worked with this idea of safety. We've worked with this idea of showing up in the world where our power is starting to shine through. And now we are helping to integrate this into our life. We lived all of our life a particular way, and now there's some change coming through, right? And so we need to be able to integrate that into our life now and see how that shows up. This stuff tends to unfold naturally. However, sometimes what can happen is sometimes certain people in our life might fall away because they're not comfortable with our power anymore, or in general, they're not comfortable with that power that we've allowed to shine through because we're safe. So this process of integration can sometimes be very uncomfortable, but can also feel very empowering as we start to see the world around us change based on how we're showing up. So when it is really uncomfortable, we are working to integrate this within your system so that it is sustainable, so that we don't just fall back to old behaviors because of the discomfort of what's going on. So these are the 3 stages that I work with people specifically in my 3-month program, which you can check out at meganjan.com/empower. It's called Empowered, and it's a 12-week program, one-on-one program with yours truly, where we go in depth into this work. We're doing somatic work, and we're working in a deep way to work through these 3 stages: safety, accessing your power, and then integration. Again, you can check that out at meganjan.com/empower. And I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, please subscribe if you haven't already, and like and share it. And I'll see you in the next one.